All right. So I've decided that I'm going to start recording my 5-minute coding adventures, um, so that maybe I can hopefully help myself get a better grasp of what the hell it is I'm doing. Because recently I've decided to start picking up game development because I want to be a game developer. Woohoo! It's so fun. Um, and I starting with Unity and of course, and like I want to do this as a career. And of course, I decided to learn that I want to do this. What, like in my 4th year of college in electrical engineering. Isn't that cool? So that's awesome. But for the time being, the plan try is to finish that degree. Um, while doing that, I'm also going to be basically completely self-teaching myself how to code in C sharp and work in Unity. And uh, and I know people tend to say that like when it comes to your first game that you got to keep your stakes low. And I get that. Like that makes sense. By the way, all the code that you're seeing here, aside from this was a class made by the Unity input system. But all this other code here is hodgepodge together from what I've learned and from tutorials. But it's mostly my own. But anyways, I already lost train of thought. This is just the whole point of me recording this is just to be in like just unscripted, um, and sort of just helping me get my thoughts out. I'll probably put it on YouTube. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm more so doing this for me so that maybe if I get stuck on something, I can look back at it. But anyways, oh yeah, people say that you should like keep fuck, what is it, like stakes or something? Stakes? What is it? Scope of your game low. But I don't know. So I have this idea for a horror game because I love horror games. Um, and I wanted it uh to be sort of like I'll explain this in a sec. You can tell this is not scripted. Fuck. So for this horror game, I want it to be sort of very reminiscent of like early Silent Hill and Resident Evil and stuff. In fact, this program, I guess program, I don't know. What is this? Fucking software? I'm not sure. It's on a website. It's called Milanote that I learned from watching videos. It's actually a really cool thing to use for making a what people call a game design document. Here, but like got my inspirations here for this game and how I want it to look. Like, which is really cool. I played through all these games, love them all to death, and I'm such a huge fan of like the old school like PlayStation style ass horror games. Like they're so cool. And well, I want this. As much as I would love for this to be my like first game, I I know that I can't. That's just not feasible because one, I don't know what I'm doing. Uh, like I'm still barely learning C sharp. Like I'm going from like baby knowledge of barely knowing how to code in Python and a little bit of MATLAB from my engineering classes to trying to completely learn the entirety of the scope of um, Unity and C sharp. which is so much fun. But I've always loved working with logic, and so yeah. So anyways, the entire point of these videos is to sort of help me catalog my learning progress and fucking and I guess walk me through my process as I and help me understand my own progress as I go through. So, with that being said, so what this is right now, this is not me trying to make that game that I showed earlier. Now, that horror game is going to be like my big passion project. But I do what I've been struggling with was one, getting ideas for like just a small scope game to get out, and two, trying to figure out like the best way to learn because I'm I've finally gotten out of using tutorials kind of and more so relying on Unity C# documentation for my coding and for of course working with Unity itself. But I still don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Like what I'm tr- so this is sort of just my practice testing ground for writing scripts. And what I've been recently trying to learn and understand is object-oriented programming, um, which I'm trying to figure that all out. And apparently, like as I'm learning, I'm understanding that it goes beyond just programming. It can go into the fucking like editor itself because you'll want to separate things into parents, and then those parents will have like objects tied to them and shit. But what I'm trying to understand is like how much should the like for instance right now let me try maybe saying myself to one thing. Let me try that. So right now I'm trying to figure out player controls, player movement because I want to understand it so understand how to code it, how to make it, and such. So that way, I can have full control over how my game feels. Because one thing that I want my game to do is to feel good. I want it to feel good to play and to control. And so I'm trying to understand that. And so I'm trying to figure out like how much should I like put in the player parent? What the hell even goes under the player parent? All I know is that like the player parent should ideally have the whatever camera player camera is attached to it, the model of the player, and then this cam target is more so for the camera. But that I do know that changes depending on what camera you use. But ideally, you'll probably want because I doubt you want it tied to the model. But would I make that like a parent of the camera or a child of the camera? I don't know. It's like I'm trying to figure out what is good practice when it comes to making these because I want to be organized because I do like my issue with learning is that I'm messy with learning. I learn very messily and then I get shit all over the place and then I have no clue where I left off and then I'm just lost. So anyways, let's get into this part. So right now, what my goal with what I'm trying to do right now in this practice ground is to get a fully functioning player movement system with a camera that you can move with the mouse, um, and that's it. I don't want jumping. I'm not trying to do jumping right now because, well, if I hit play here, you can kind of see I'm with the angle that I have the camera at right now. Um, I'm trying to. I'll get to that later. Um, with the angle that I have the camera at right now, I want it. I just like I'm trying to test out and see what I can do to try and get the feel of that old PlayStation horror game aesthetic. And like, cause And so this is sort of me trying to recreate how the camera acts in those games. And I've also got this error here that I'm not sure what it means. Where is that? Wait, okay, it's in the camera controller. Fuck, where's that? I'm actually bad. Okay, but maybe if I explain it, maybe that'll help me understand it. Okay, so I have these all separated into their own scripts, and I'm gonna have each script under their own folder, so that way I can help keep myself organized. So we have the animation controller, which, well, like what I've dubbed the animation controller, this will be for controlling the animations. Whoa. Um. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah. Like, so if you're walking, they're gonna walk this way and so forth. But like, there's also the fucking like animator component. I'm not dealing with animations right now. I'll deal with it later. This is just my action. Fuck. What is it called? Fuck. I actually don't remember. Assets. Fucking this. Yeah. It's the for Unity's uh new input system thing. This is how they got it set up now instead of using like the get access raw, which would have been really nice to know that this is their default now. Because, but to be fair, a lot of videos that I've been watching were from like 2025. Um, this is like what, February 26th, yeah, and they were all using Unity's old input system, which was like the get access raw or some shit. I don't know how it works, but um, yeah, they got this new one now, so I had to go and learn that, which is fun instead of the other thing. But basically, which I'm trying to figure out. Okay, hang on, one thing at a time. I'm so squirrel brained right now. Okay, so you tie a thing. You just make an action, you name the action, and then you tie the action to an input, and then it can be different types. So for if you're say looking for a movement action, or like WASD, or with a stick on a gamepad, you'll go forward, back, left, right, all that fun stuff. And then the control type is it could be like I don't know what any of this other stuff means. Like I don't know what the hell eyes, bones, and shit means. I got no fucking idea, dude. I do know what vector two and vector three means. The vector two thing basically defines it as only relying on two. What are they called? What are they fucking called? It basically only relies on two like variables. So for this, God, now I'm gonna. I don't want to have to figure out how to explain geometry, dude. It works. Fucking it's it basically gives coordinates of a 2D plane of it, like like x and y graphs and shit. Like it only utilizes two vectors, or not two vectors. Fuck, two quadrants, I guess. And then you can tie it to any one of the if you're working in 3D, you can tie it to any of the three dimensions here. At least I think you can. I don't know. I have it set to um if I can. So I have it set to that it controls the Z movement and the X movement of my little bean here. Anyways, but basically what this is saying is that when the left stick is moved or when WASD is moved or touched, whatever, give it'll give the input system uh like it'll deliver out two fucking variables. God, this is so awful. But yeah, that's what I know. And then Then for look, I got no idea what the hell. Like, I don't know how this would work in two vectors. I think if you got a thing, and then if you like say move the camera up, it'll go this way, right this way. Right, because you wouldn't do this. Okay, no, I see it. No, that's why it's vector 2. Okay. But then wouldn't it be quaternion for rotation? Or is that? See, that's where I've been getting stuck at. Right now I'm stuck on camera shit. But yeah. Anyways, that was a long tangent. Jesus. Anyways, so I got fucking the animation controls. This, I told the input system to make like a class. I don't know why I did that. It just, it, like I was watching a video and it said to do that, but I don't know why it made a script file, but it said, you should do this. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now I have that. I guess maybe so that I can interact with it. I don't know. Then we have my camera controlling script, my empty health script that I'm not going to focus on right now, and what I have input caller. So what I have this doing is where I'm defining what the defining the movements as functions. Um, so like for now, I only have move and look defined, and then keeping and then returning them uh like as their quadrant variables, their vector variables. Um, and because I know that making variables public is just bad practice, I had to look up how to make them private. And so what this does apparently is that if you have it set to public, um, and then you have this line after, it should make it so that it keeps them private, but still allows other scripts to call them if they like ask for them specifically. So that way you're not actually making these public, but you're still allowing other scripts to access them. So anyways, and then we have my movement script, which is right here. And of course, this is the movement. And so maybe if I just like read through it, um, I can help myself understand a bit better. So this usually in this area, this is where you define variables. These are all local variables. I know that, I think, maybe. Yeah, because they're private, right? If they're private, that means they're local variables. But if I make them public, it makes them global? Maybe. Fuck, I don't know. Um, and then this is just speed here is just a variable with a number. I can change the number, whatever. And then this is the character controller. So when you attach a script to a game object, so the player here, for example, it you can call other components of the game object. So the movement script is calling um, the character controller here. Now, do I know what the character controller is doing? Do I know why I need it? No, I have no idea what this thing's doing. I have no idea why I need it. All I do know is that I need it. I think it defines the area that moves the player, maybe? Like so if I tell it to go forward, it goes. I'm pointing out with my finger. It goes. So if I press forward using W, it calls the character controller, and it basically tells it, okay, you're gonna move from, you're going to take this point and move it this way, dragging everything attached with it this way. I think. Maybe. I don't know. And then I don't know what like slope limit, like does it define it if I like hover over it? No, it just tells me boundaries. But like I don't know what any of this means. I don't know what this means. Like I don't know. Maybe if I post this online and somehow people actually watch it, maybe I could get some help. That'd be nice. I doubt anyone would actually sit through my rambling, though. So this is more so for me, if anything. Um, but anyways, um, and so we define the character controller, I guess, like, and then we name the variable of the controller to be used in the script, right? Um, and then we call my input thing from the input caller because it'll get an input variable from input caller. Yeah. Or no, it gets, no, it input equals get component input caller. I swear I understood what this meant. Fuck, dude. This is probably why people write comments. But so in here, I guess this just gets the components. Although I don't know why this doesn't get the component. I guess this defines the variable as a character controller variable. Pretty sure. And this defines this variable as an input caller variable. And then what and then the input caller variable is equal to the component input caller. I think. I don't know. Do I need to know? I'm not sure. I still don't know. um, anyways, in here, my very basic movement script. We've got vector3, a vector3 variable of forward. Did I define that up here? No, I didn't have to. I guess because I defined it here. Should I define it up here? I actually don't. I don't know. But so in the update function, which runs every frame, I think that's right. Yeah, it's called every frame. It defines two variables, a vector3 variable, which basically is a variable with an x, y, and z axis, and then and it's a forward variable. And now forward is apparently a keyword in Unity C# that refers to, I think it's like, is it the Z? Returns the blue axis? What's the fuck? I think blue is Z, right? Yeah, blue is Z. So this line means that forward in this case is equal to the Z axis of the transform of the game object that the script is attached to. And then right is equal to the x-axis of the transform that this script of the game object the script is attached to. And then it sets forward.y equals 0, which makes sense because when you're using WASD, none of those are going to mess with the y-axis, so you want to make sure it doesn't do that. I have no clue what normalize means. Normalizes the magnitude of the current vector to 1 while maintaining the direction. Oh, wait. Actually, maybe I do. Wait. So does that mean that it limits? Does that mean that like it limits it to only going to 1? I think. And I guess, yeah, and then the same for right. So I guess, so it does go up past 1. And then what I do with that is vector3 move. So we define another vector3 thing called move direction, and it's equal to the forward. It's equal to forward. So the z-axis, it's equal to the z-axis times, and then it gets the move input y from that is defined in input caller right here. Okay. Plus the x-axis times the move input of x from input caller. And then I guess this is what the character controller does. You use it here in the update function. So controller dot move direction times speed times time delta time. I don't know what the times time delta time means. Do I even need the speed? Is the speed matter here? I don't think it does. I don't know. I don't know. And then I don't know what velocity means. I'm not sure. Like I saw that used somewhere else, but I don't know what to do with that. I think it was for gravity shit. But like that's my basic ass movement system that I've got right here. And then my camera controls, like I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of vaguely understand how to do stuff with like transforms and stuff, or like with position transforms, I should say. But I don't know what I'm doing for rotations. Like I think it's about the same thing, just with different numbers, but like I don't know what quaternion means. So like I guess I'll just try to. So I'm using like Unity's like Cinemachine cameras, and this is what is this? Fucking it's a third person following camera. And so I have this camera set to follow a target that I just have kind of set like at a spot. Okay, hang on, no, go back to the bean. Yeah, so I have it a little bit forward because I'm like, this is sort of me trying to achieve the effect that I want, but I really shouldn't be focusing on that right now. I should be focusing on getting the camera to work. But I don't know, I like working ahead because I'm stupid. But and so we got that. So we got like our Cinemachine camera, and then we got our follow point. And so I have it so I serialize the field, which means that it lets it be seen in the inspector, and so that way I can, and it gets the transform of whatever I give it, and then the input from input color. And then from there, I got no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what any of this means. This was more so stuff that was auto-pasted or auto-completed from C Sharp's wacky shit. Like I have a thing, like I named it rotation input. Like the rotation equals quaternion lerp interpolates between A and B by T and normalizes the result afterwards. No clue what that means. And then it defines some variables, I think. I don't know. Or like it calls variables, I should say. It calls variables. And then this like does shit with input. I like see I got nothing. I don't know what this means. But yeah, that's kind of my progress with Unity so far. I kind of got character like movement down, kind of not really. I want to be able to fully understand it so that I can confidently make better movement for my character controller. But right now I need to understand camera controls. So hopefully this helps me a little bit.